person's time. We don't want to cut into individual members' time. You have the lemon, Mr. Pearson.
Thank you very much. Foxes. As a result of the recently introduced pest control order, it is now illegal to rescue and rehome foxes, even if they are desexed and kept in secure enclosures on private properties. But the concern is that as a declared pest under the Local Land Services Act, it is illegal to transport a fox without a permit. If a member of the public finds an injured fox or a fox that is diseased in urgent need of veterinary care and transports that fox to a vet, they are at the risk of being prosecuted or charged, breaching the pest control order, and also a veterinarian providing help for the treatment of the injured or diseased fox. Is this really the intention that the minister that these people are required to leave injured and orphaned animals to suffer and die?
No, I would believe that if that was the case, then the fox should be euthanised as humanely as possible. It's a pest species. I know the Greens have recently been out on this, advocating that we should be keeping foxes, which is an interesting sideline for them. But it is a pest species and should be treated as such.
Yeah, but a pest, it is still a sentient mammal, equally capable of suffering as a so-called non-pest animal. So the concern with this is that they're exempt from the usual care and help that any other animal would be able to obtain.
No,
why should they be exempt?
They should be euthanised as humanely as possible.
But often these animals need to be transported to be euthanised as humanely as possible if they don't have the correct equipment to euthanize the animal in situ. So this order makes it an offence for them to uplift the injured animal, and take it to a vet, offence for the vet to actually treat or euthanize the animal humanely. That's the question.
Yeah. I would hope that common sense is applied. I don't want to be seen at all for anyone to be continuing to foster this pest animal that is something that is one of the greater threats to some of our native species. And I think anyone that's advocating that we should be somehow sympathetic towards these foxes is not something I'm going to support.
But I mean, I'm talking about euthanizing the animal when it's in pain and distress, not necessarily taking it, as was the case before, to a refuge and looking after it. But I might move on to the next question.
Mr. Hanson can just add something quickly.
Sorry, I was just going to add, I mean, we have numerous pest control orders that obviously we apply common sense to across the state, so we'd assume that the same would apply here.
So you're saying that a person would be exempt from prosecution if they were to assist an animal to be euthanised?
Common sense would be applied.
Okay. The next question is in relation to Section 24 under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, where it says you can perform various procedures on animals at a certain age, but always at the end of every clause, and it relates to all the mutilations, including mulesing, it states, and the Director-General had put this in a manner that inflicted no unnecessary pain upon the animal. Minister, I understand you don't want to support actually mandating things, but actually encouraging wool growers to change. But I suggest to you that there are two problems here. That if a wool grower does not apply an easily available and relatively cheap analgesia after the mule's operation, that they may not be able to be protected by that section of the Act, that they're leaving themselves open to prosecution. So in order to protect that wool grower, to mandate pain relief would be in their interest, so that they would not then possibly be captured by that section of that part of Section 24. But overwhelmingly, it also sends a message to the whole wool industry and to all the retailers around the world that they can be assured that all wool coming from mulesed wool on the bale, that wool has come from animals that have received the most analgesia that's possible. So it's a two-pronged issue that I put to you, that it's a dilemma, and that actually it might be in the interests of those wool growers who are refusing at the moment to use pain relief, that if it was mandated, it would be in the best interest of the wool industry and the retailer's assurance that the wool being bought from them is always pain relieved.
Firstly, thank you for correctly stating my position on this, and I know that we've had the opportunity to debate this in the House, and I firmly do believe that it is something that the industry is well and truly moving towards, and I think it's around 77% at the moment of the industry that are using pain relief in relation to mulesing. I might hand to Mr. Hanson to add some, or fill in some of those technical blanks for you.
And thanks, Minister. So, I mean, we continue to believe that the best path is to work with the industry in their seeking of their long-term goal of reduction and voluntary take-up, and we've been pleased with the level of take-up. As the Minister said, 77% of lambs with analgesic being used. We have about 50% of the clip now that's been sold is being marketed as unmulesed. There's significant advances in the breeding genetics as well as pain relief. And the industry is investing a lot of time and effort to make sure that the tools are available, but until those tools have been available, the industry has had to take step by step to minimise pain, because at the end of the day, there's no benefit for a wool producer in creating pain or causing pain to those animals. And so we continue to believe that the best path is a voluntary path by which the industry itself arrives at the endpoint destination that its customers are asking for.
The concern is, though, is that Hugo Boss, for example, his representative came to the Australian Wool Innovation Meeting of Animal Welfare and made it clear to that committee that we want no surprises. So we don't want wool mixed with mules non-pain relief wool in China and sent to our knitters for our suits. If we find that out, we may turn away from Australia. So that's the dilemma. And so I'll just leave it there and move to my next question.
Maybe next time.
Okay.
Next time. Good.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Pearson.